Okay, we're going to move on to how to start this whole creation process, like what to do first. So the first thing is the biggest issue that I've seen a lot with so many maps that are released right now, and it's not being able to adjust the offset, the beat offset here properly. There's a lot of offbeat maps, and that's kind of the main part of the game. So if you don't have a map that's on beat, then chances are you're either going to get downvoted or someone's just not going to play it, or both. So you don't want that to happen. So at least try to have it on beat. So here's what you do. First off, find a spot where there's a pretty significant beat section. I'm just going to hit F key so I can not move this camera up here. So let's go. I know it's a lower that down a little bit as well. Right here. So that sounds like a good one. So we'll raise that up a little bit. And first thing we're going to do, the zoom here. We're going to zoom in as far as we can go to 800%. That way we can be sure that we're getting as close to the markers as we need. And let's see, let's move ahead. So I heard a beat right here. Yeah, so there's one right here. And what you want to do is when you hear that beat sound, you want to have this, or this purple line essentially happen right before it. And we kind of use this as a guide. Just kind of hit the space bar on it and we'll adjust it right to this. And we'll kind of click a little bit behind it, make sure it's as close as we can get. That sounds pretty good. So just to make sure, I'll check one of these ones. So it might be off a little bit, but I'm gonna try another spot too. Go back to 100 here so I can go move down here. There we go, there's a good spot. Okay, this is where I want to be. So go to here, we'll zoom in. And now you can see it more definitively. Yeah, much better. Just kind of working my way back until I hear it, which is probably right by there. Yeah, so right about there, so we can have a little bit of spot there. Now you wouldn't think that would make a huge difference, but when you're actually playing the game, it makes all the difference because you have but I believe it's 150 millisecond grace window on either side of the beat. And if this was off here, that grace window, you would have to shoot late every time just to shoot on beat. And same thing if it was up here, you have to shoot early. And it just helps everybody when, you know, and especially when you have a lot of guys to shoot, it becomes more critical to have it set as accurate as possible than you would think. I had to adjust it on mine a couple times because it was too far back and I was noticing it when I was playing. So yeah. So then we'll zoom out just to make sure the BPM is accurate. Like if your BPM's off, these lines will not match up to these, but these look pretty spot on all the way across. So it's safe to say this version of the song I got is accurately 150 BPM. So if yours is not the same BPM as it says it is, then I had mentioned earlier, there's a couple ways you can do it. Either you can search for a version that is, but if you have any other questions on that, you just have to ask someone on the Pistol Whip Discord for advice. They can probably help you, and like I could probably help you on it too. So yeah, all right. So that's that part. That's all you gotta do. So now this song is completely on beat. We will move on to the next thing, which I'm not sure what it is yet.
The next day.
All right, I'm doing this one little extra segment because this was a notably more common issue than I thought it was, that the song's BPM is not going to match what it says it is. So I'm just going to go through how to do it within the editor pretty simply, and I screwed up my own song just so I could show you how to do it. So the first thing is going to switch this to 100, and we're going to first show, this is usually what most people do, is they just find the first beat they can in the very beginning of the map, which is not that. It's a little further here. So example here. Okay, we're just going to assume that's on beat, which it should be, but check this one. Yeah, so that one's, it's kind of on beat. And most people just call that good, and that's the problem, is that they don't actually check if it's on beat throughout the entire song. They're just like, oh, well, that's good there, it must be on beat. Like, no, that's not what you do. So you have to always check the beginning, somewhere in the middle, and the end. Because what will happen is the BPM otherwise will just go faster than the actual song, and it just loops over and over and over again, around and around, kind of like when you're staring at someone else's blinker while yours is going, seeing if it's going to match, and you have to wait for it to kind of catch up to yours, or whatever you want to call it. It's like that. So what we're going to do now is figure out where, obviously go to the end of the song, because that's where it's going to be the most offbeat. And I'm going to pick a spot here, going to zoom in. I got to repick the spot because the zoom in doesn't zoom in where you point it to. And we're going to start here. The beat looks like it's right here. Yeah. So this is a pretty significant change in the offset right there. And that's going to throw off the entire game and just not going to make it fun to play. And again, you're going to get downvoted and no one's going to want to play your map again. So what we're going to do is fix that. So we're just going to have this. So one thing to note too is that I actually haven't checked it with the latest version, but the June 30th build, which I started this video on, you can technically type in decimal values in this, but it does not save it. So it'll show it, but as soon as you leave and come back, it's going to reset it to a whole number value. But that's not really important at the moment for this. We're just using that as a reference, and just so you know, it doesn't really work that way. So we're going to change the BPM of the entire song and fix it that way. So we're going to start by typing in, say, 150.02 and see it moved a little bit to the left. So it's not quite on beat yet, and delete that. 150.04. And let's see. That's actually where it wants to be. So we're going to stick with that. So it's 150.04 is the current BPM of the song. And we go back to the beginning just to make sure. Well, the beginning of my song doesn't really have any beats, so we're just going to assume that it's what it is. I see. Yeah, so it's on beat. So the entire song is now on beat. So the next thing we're going to do is go back to Audacity. Okay, and we're back in Audacity. Oops. So this is the MP3 file that is 150.04. And the simple way to do that is we just take the value we discovered from the editor, and then we go to Effect, Pitch and Tempo, Change Tempo, and go from the 150.04 to just 150. Ta-da! And that's it. And then we just save it, and then we just replace it, and then re-import it. And that's all there is to it. Okay, back to the past.